See if they are as good as Cyphers have been in this tournament. But I'm excited for this one. Yep, okay, so G2 have a map lead going into it because they came from the winners bracket and they have already beaten Prodigy once. And in the previous series, they did beat Prodigy 13-7 on Haven. It was a little bit of a one-sided map, that's for sure. And now with G2 defending first, I wonder whether they'll show that same amount of aggression that we saw, Hypok, where they're just more than happy to push out of sights and try and gain that information on both A and C. Already, we're seeing one of the players has worked his way down to Cubby. The Cypher is going to be there to gain any information if anyone is going to push up to C. But at the moment, on the opposition side of Prodigy, they're just waiting. They're just hovering here around window and middle, maybe waiting to see if G2 are going to continue that aggression.
Yeah, no, actually, we've got a little bit of a rotation back over. We've got, I'm guessing that's ardiis on the Sova. Come all the way over to A side to maybe push down long. But Spike still sat back in spawn behind the window. Recon Bolt going to go out. Probably not going to spot anything, but now we see a couple of players stacking up towards Garage. And they're going to go through double doors. Jet going to dash in. Lucker going to turn around towards window. And now you're going to see pyth actually with that one way try and get some contact down connector. Again, a slow push here for the pistol round. Down to 35 seconds left on the clock and no real pressure onto a site. As I say that, Pat's going to walk through the sky smoke and he's going to find Hip. He's going to find Turko as well. That's two fantastic kills from him. He's going to find the third. Rhyme will fall. Spike is down. Pat, you are... Oh my God, he's disgusting. That is a fantastic start. Mixwell going to steal the ace away from him. That is a fantastic round to get on the board for G2 to get things going on Haven.
And that's hilarious because G2 have kind of said, all right, well, you know what, guys, let's not go for our typical aggressive nature. Let's see what Prodigy have to offer, see if they're going to go for a fast execute. Whereas Prodigy have gone, hey, guys, let's wait and let's see if G2 are going to push us. And we got this standstill for almost a minute. And then 30 seconds remaining, suddenly Pat goes, you know what, screw this. I'm pushing through this smoke. I don't care about you guys at middle. An incredible 4K for him, which gives G2 the lead. And well, Pat rewards himself with a Phantom and full armor, and that is terrifying if I'm Prodigy.
You gotta treat yourself. You gotta treat yourself a little bit.
The thing is, he's the man with the Phantom, and look where Prodigy are opting to go towards. Pat playing over towards A long now. The Lear comes out. 5-man push through sewers now. Davidp going to find a headshot with the Ghost. ardiis will find a second onto Hip. And you can see now the Jet's going to push in. ardiis will find a second now. Look at him. He's getting picked apart. G2 will hold strong again, only losing one person. That's the second round on the board for G2.
It's like a swarm of angry bees, Gaskin.
Which, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been chased by a swarm of angry bees, but would be terrifying. I've only been chased by a swarm of angry wasps, which are actually more scary than bees, arguably.
Nice.
And you think I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm genuinely not joking. That maybe is a story for another day, but
I want to hear that. Can we just technical pause? We have a wasp story.
I mean, just quickly, I had like 5 wasps that nested in my hair when I was about 7 years old, and it was one of the most terrifying days of my life.
Okay.
I don't have that problem.
I apologize. Well, Mixwell gets the opener. pAura replies. And pAura now seeing if he can get aggressive here on A long to catch out Pat, but Pat retreats to A site and quite appropriately. But there's Rhyme chiming in, taking down pyth. And that means Rhyme has found his way onto the C site, pushing into Garage, and just like that, Prodigy, they are getting up in the face of G2. ardiis might have been able to find one, but that means he is just on his own here in a 1 versus 3. And, I mean, it's definitely winnable, but he's so far away from the site at this point that it's going to be a very difficult and long rotate for him. I wonder whether he'll just opt to save this up here.
I'm thinking at this point, you know, Prodigy put a round on the board, but going to carry over arguably a huge crutch in terms of G2's gameplay, which is the operator. You can see Prodigy not risking losing any more weapons. They are stacked up, still expecting the retake, but it's not going to come through. Rhyme already stepping up after, I mean, we've already said it. I don't want to harp on at the boy, but a tough series previously, and that's a good performance from him already.
Pretty important to carry this off forward as well.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah,
Again, this gives them the opportunity to draw first blood. You know, get an opening to kind of stop any aggro push coming out of Prodigy. It's like I said, it's a crutch of the whole team's kind of strategy, really.
I mean, it's Mixwell's baby. Like Mixwell is
Exactly.
like, if you don't save that op, then I'm going to be particularly unhappy with you. And well, you don't want to make Mixwell unhappy. Or maybe you do. Maybe Mixwell as an angry player would also be a very aggressive and scary player at the same time.
I don't think I've ever seen him angry, ever. He's always just like smiling, having a good time.
He's like the Hulk. He's just like, you don't want to see me when I'm angry. Who knows what Mixwell would turn into if you do anger him a little bit. He's just going to be watching through double doors here to see if he can tag anyone that walks past, but no one playing ball just yet. Even though the X-ray looks like someone was close, no one actually close enough, but Mixwell will now move over towards long.
Rhyme.
Yeah, Rhyme was there. Rhyme was able to just freely wander onto C site last time and take the 1v1 duel versus pyth, so maybe that's why Mixwell's saying, all right, well, I'll give you a hand here, pyth, but luckerrr has waltzed into garage. And it looks like this is going to be very much a C execute. Mixwell does spot one though, so now that information can be passed on to the rest of the team. And the rotate can come through as David opens up the fragging onto luckerrr, and he only has a bulldog to work with as well. He's done particularly well in this situation as Mixwell just taking a very defensive angle as ardiis takes down pAura, but wow, Hip. That's a shot to remember. Hip and Rhyme will march onto C site. Now the spike can go down. It's a 3 versus 3 high bot.
Sky Smoke going to cover off Davidp over towards C-Link. And now ardiis just wary of the flank. But all three players stacked up on site. Prodigy here needs to hold the line. Hunter's Fury going to get popped here. And I think he's actually got a tag on the back site. He actually missed it. So Rhyme will find Pat in the meantime. And that's now put G2 in a 2v3 situation. And again, I think... Oh, no, they're not going to pull out. Hip's actually going to find ardiis. And now Davidp probably going to try and retreat, but he does catch a headshot through the wall. Puts him down to 22 HP. He might catch Rhyme at the front of B site. There you go. Rhyme will find 3 on the round, and this man is really stepping up now coming into the final series.
I imagine that overtime victory and nailing that thing probably energized him like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when he's now going up against, Davidp, who has kind of shown us how Sage can also be played. Rhyme's like, well, I mean, I don't want to be forgotten about how well I can play Sage as well. And the man seems to be on fire. I mean, if he didn't step up in that final overtime round, potentially we wouldn't even see Prodigy here. Would have been Fabricant instead, taking a stab at G2. And it's a weak buy for G2 now, and Prodigy, I'm sure, will look to try and take advantage of this. Mixwell, again, just trying to get aggressive with the shorty, but pAura wise to it. I think pAura could be one of the important factors to this game. If he can stop these aggressive pushes from G2 in various different positions, whether it be out mid or whether it be down A long, he can certainly give Prodigy a good opportunity of getting some decent rounds here on Haven. Neural theft is popped, so information gathered as the rest of the squad are now going to push through. Or it looks like window maybe towards B. And it is a 4 versus 3, but as I said earlier, G2, they don't really have the weapons.
pAura split the defense here.
Well, that's it, yeah. David's going to find pAura peeking over towards A link. And now you can see the audio cue goes over. David knows exactly what's coming. He's going to try and take a corner inside Graffiti. Oh, he nearly waited for that one. Hip finally spotted him at the last second. We'll shut him down, and that's going to be site control going over to Prodigy. And just one man left, and it's pyth with a sheriff. And it doesn't matter because Rhyme is going to find another kill here. And I think you're absolutely right. It's a confidence boost coming out of that overtime clutch. But he's really starting to heat up already here.
It's always interesting to see when you are kind of hit by that near site Leah. Are you a player who shoots it and gives away your position and then tries to reface? Or are you a player who just hopes they don't look there, presuming that someone who was sat there would have shot it? It's all those mind games that come into the equation. pyth yet to pick up any frags whatsoever. 0 and 3 at the moment on C site. But he has been on the rotate on 2 of those rounds, and the other just took a 1v1 aim duel as luckerrr gets the opening onto Pat. And this is where we talk about the impactful frags of the op, as ardiis says, well, anything you can do, I can do better. As the recon bolt to send towards A long to see if anyone else was pushing him fast, and the owl drone now comes out, sending down to sewers. Maybe we'll see anyone. No, not just yet. I think that Prodigy were able to avoid that, so it means they can all group up here on A. When you haven't been spotted by an owl drone, I think it's usually the right idea to head that way. Can you think?
David's getting aggressive.
David's timing on that push there. He's got himself tucked all the way in the corner. Just in mid-doors. And now you're going to see him peek on, but Turko's actually going to come out on top of that 1v1, and that's going to pull pyth all the way back to the defensive spawn. Rhyme going to get pAura back on his feet. Now, G2 have a 3v5 situation, and Prodigy do have 3 ultimate abilities if they really want to secure this round. luckerrr now going for an operator peek. Not going to find anything initially. A player up in heaven, got to be careful there. But this is all a distraction, Dan. Because you can see the push coming onto C site again.
An almighty ruse as the spike is going to go down on C site here. And, I mean, a question for you, Hyper, would be, I mean, Davidp has been caught out there, right? And he was so successful various times pushing out as the Sage, but at what point do you try and reel him back in? Is he reelable? Can you bring Davidp back, or is he always going to be this player who pushes out and does what he wants?
That's the 1v1. If he wins that, then he's just in the heart of the defense there, or the attack, I should say.
I mean, yeah, I'm with Moses there, but also at the same time, I mean, once he's got himself into that position, he doesn't need to peek. As soon as the attackers obviously move into a position towards garden or mid doors, or he gets an audio cue on long, he's done the hard work. Even if he just plays his life there and gives some information, that's better than dying, you've got to say. luckerrr now going to peek around. He's going to find pyth outside A link. Actually, Mixwell all the way over in the spawn. A rare miss there, but luckerrr did take a leg. It's going to put him down to very low HP, but ardiis opted not to peek onto it because he's got an operator of his own. But just coming back to it there. Yes, pushing out mid doors there. He gets the information. Nobody's really in that area, but the peek onto Turko, I feel it's a bit overzealous. He can play his life there a lot better.
I think that was the point I was trying to make, really, is that Sage is such an important character, such an important agent to be able to support the team, get heals, potentially get a res if you've got that up. And if Davidp doesn't win those 1v1s, which, in fairness to him, he has been winning them so much,
oh, Mixwell.
it can leave the team a little bit weak as Mixwell will go down. Hip's going to be able to get the dismiss to reposition. Davidp is going to be on his own here at Garage. Does have a Phantom to work with, and at least ardiis gets a big frag onto luckerrr. Davidp gets the res onto Mixwell. So now G2, they can still do something with this round. That resurrect is going to be huge. Mixwell had the op, of course. So there's going to be 2 ops still available on ardiis and Mixwell. As Davidp is going to be the first point of defense if they opt to push into Garage through double doors here. How much do you trust Davidp in this engagement? So many times he wins these fights, he gets the first. Does he get greedy for no? He doesn't. Instead, he slows. Much more smart play coming out from David, which gives G2 the player advantage with only 40 seconds remaining for Prodigy needing to push to a site here.
Yeah, there's going to be B. And that, this is difficult now because all 3 stacked up, no mid control right now. They're actually going to push through and try and take control of A link. And ardiis, meanwhile, has something to say on the matter. David will find pAura elsewhere, and that just leaves Rhyme, the star so far for Prodigy. Let's see what he can do in a 1v4 situation post-plant.
The Judge gets traded out for a Vandal. Recon Bolt gets fired, and yeah. Unfortunately for Rhyme, the gig is up. And G2 back on the board once again. Even though it was a bit shaky at the start of that round, losing 2, Davidp able to get the res, and ardiis with a big impactful frag with the op. That means they are right back into this half.
Last time Turko and company played on this map against G2, he was able to post 14 frags. A little bit behind that mark right now. luckerrr, same thing. He was able to post 15. So right now, Rhyme carrying the load.
Well, on the other side, it was Mixwell and Pat with 21 frags each when they went up against each other on Haven. It's ardiis who seems to be the player stepping up right now. And for the member of the chat who asked why we weren't talking about ardiis, well, he's going to give us a reason to talk about him, maybe. The UK/Latvian pro, with his move from Fish 123, has been such an impressive player for G2. And there he is again, impressing by taking down pAura. And this is where I think Prodigy struggle. When they've lost that first player, It's where they go. It's how they
Yeah.
push onto the
Yeah.
site.
You're absolutely right, and it comes back to that. I won't say hesitation, but you know they default back to this kind of passive look for picks, and now you can see all 4 of them have been channeled in towards B site. Bladestorm is popped, and luckerrr will force his way all the way into top of B site. Spike will go down. It is planted for window. This time they opt to send 2 out and take some mid control, but Shock Dart will put some damage onto luckerrr. Now G2 going to have to reset. Mixwell will pop a Bladestorm of his own. luckerrr will find pyth with the operator. Actually, Mixwell's going to come in. Rhyme going to find the headshot from behind. ardiis will respond onto that orbital strike going in now. And actually, luckerrr's going to come around find Pat, but David there for the trade. And here you see the Molotov is set up from the mid control. This is going to eat a lot of time here.
And he's got the orbital strike as well. So there's surely no way they've got time to even win this round. Question is, does he have to use it? Well, now he's going to have to. Not even going to be able to get it halfway. No time for ardiis, even the fact he got the 3K. So perfectly played by Turko. Again, just demonstrating how strong Brimstone could be in a post-plant position. It was an easy lineup for the Incendiary.
He forced the ult usage at least. I mean, I guess the result would have been the same regardless, but you know, he did manage to pick up that frag, so it's a little bit of damage to the economy. But man, 5-3 now for GT or for Prodigy rather. 5-3. Can read.
Just don't try and read colors, Moses, because we've learned how that goes.
pyth is a little quiet this game too. He's going to have to go to the judge.
Yeah, he's not really been able to find success on C, which is why he moved over to A. And it seems like wherever he resides, Prodigy have just been avoiding like the plague, and whether that's just coincidence or purpose. On purpose, I don't really know. And it's always going to be frustrating when you're not able to frag out and you're kind of forced to force up with something like a judge. Then you also can't play necessarily how you'd like to play. You can't peek certain angles. You have to play very restricted and watch very close quarter combat instead, as luckerrr gets the opener onto Pat. And G2, a player down now.
Another first blood for Prodigy.
Yeah, luckerrr's been huge for that so far.
Which is what he was doing all throughout the group stages,
Yeah,
to be
it was.
honest. Like,
Yeah.
do you remember that split game where it was just every round?
Just
it seemed like
every
luckerrr
round, yeah.
was just peeling faces. And maybe he's finding a little bit of that form now again when they need to. They need someone to be stepping up and forcing G2 out of their comfort zone if they are going to have a chance in this final. And considering the fact they only got 7 rounds last time on Haven, they've already been able to achieve 5, so arguably a better start to this particular game.
Oh no. Oh no, the judge absolutely deadly from there. pyth will find 2. He's got the spy cam as well. He's got the information. The incendiary comes out, going to force him out the corner, but he finds Turko as well. luckerrr hiding behind sight. He's going to find Mixwell with the operator, but pyth with a 4. This
Judge
is
ace.
fantastic work from him. Neural Theft's going to get popped. He's looking for the ace. Oh,
It's not
Should have
quite
stuck with
there.
it.
It would have almost been a beautiful thing, but now it's a 1 versus 1. For all of pyth's hard work, the round still
res.
might not go in favor of G2. Phantom in the hat of Rhyme. ardiis did have the op. Does he still continue with it? No, he's been able to pick up a rifle of his own. There is the res. Now, do you use it as bait or do you face with it? He used it as bait. ardiis takes down Hip. He gets an unnecessary death. The shock darts come out, and then he gets the spray. Rhyme makes it 3. And even though pyth had such an impressive round with the judge, Rhyme again stepping up when he needed to.
Bailed him out, man. Rhyme has been clutch, and it's 6-3 now for Prodigy. I'm starting to think now what this means for the back half of this squad, because we talked about G2 being on ice a little bit. This might be one of those situations that we saw in the first game they played where they just needed to shake the rust off. But Rhyme has been huge. Already 12. He's already matched his frags from the last time these guys matched up here.
Well, it's 6-3 and G2 not able to buy up the op for Mixwell, so he's not going to be able to have maybe as much success as he might have found, but he did position himself in a awkward spot for Rhyme to check and peek. And Rhyme unfortunately falling right at the start of the round this time, so no clutch moments from him. Instead, the rest of the boys at Prodigy are going to have to step up, and this time hopefully they're not going to walk straight into some judge bullets. ardiis only with the Bulldog to work with, so this has been a pretty iffy and squiffy buy for G2. Prodigy have been more than happy to bide their time here, Hypoc. They haven't been really too distracted by the whole, oh, G2 are going to be aggressive and they're going to push us, because we haven't seen the same aggression from G2.
We haven't, no. They're on the back foot right now. I think that's fair to say. Cybercade's going to get popped in. So luckerrr finds that one through the cage. ardiis will respond, but Hip will find ardiis in return. That was a fantastic shot from luckerrr there. Now you're going to see Spike will go down. Pat is ready and waiting. He's actually going to deny the plant, and Davidp will find Hip elsewhere. And now, look how quickly G2 turn that round. Back in their favor.
That is my only worry with a B execute that doesn't involve smokes and walls, is you do leave yourself very vulnerable for that plant to be denied. And without the, oh my, that's nightmare fuel. What are the observers trying to do to me?
I don't want to see the monkeys again. I know they're going to show it to me next round now, but I don't want to see those two little freaky monkeys.
Okay, yeah, you're definitely not going to now.
Can G2 rescue this half? Or are we going to see Prodigy put a 7th and potentially even an 8th on the board? ardiis wouldn't have seen any of these players crossing, but certainly will have some sort of indication. Instead, Pat is going to be there in sewers. And now here comes ardiis to clean up luckerrr, and ardiis and Pat are doing some work here on A site. ardiis comes to save the day. And it's just going to be the one remaining player of Ryman. He only has a frenzy, so nothing going to happen there. ardiis with the 3k. And G2 put their 5th up. And that was a much more solid hold. But of course, Prodigy, their money wasn't great. At least they can buy up for this final round of the half.
Close game. Real close. I
Yeah,
mean,
there they are.
It's been really impressive to see just how back and forth this has been. I think a lot of us expected this to be like G2 just coming out and showing what's up, but there they are. There they are. Jungle Jim, Jungle George.
I mean, it looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, if I'm completely honest. Pretty terrifying. Wow, Davidp, big shots.
Oh,
Mixwell also finds the 2nd. Perfect start for G2 to make this 6-6, to be honest. Even though Prodigy have been able to win some rounds 4 versus 5, but 3 versus 5 is a little bit of a stretch, especially when you've got the ultimates available for G2. You've got the Hunter's Fury for ardiis, or at least it was there. Still got a res available for Davidp if they want to use it. pyth is going to have vision onto this site, pushes round, gets the spray down onto Turko, and now is he going to look for pAura? Yes, he is, and that's going to be the round. 6-6 then. G2 have rescued the half after a couple of dodgy rounds, and Prodigy looking very, very strong.
I think these next couple of rounds are really going to dictate the rest of this this series.
Absolutely, absolutely.
G2 is like now starting to be like, oh right, this is who we are.
Yeah, but also I think maybe it's a reaction to, holy hell, Prodigy are bringing the fight to us.
Yeah,
and I don't think G2 have had many teams that have actually done that, or especially drawn blood.
They're all leaning forward on the couch now. They got to get into the gamer stance.
They're out of full recline mode.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've been saying all day in chat. We've seen it. They said they're going to walk the finals, and halfway through map 1, it's all squared up.
Ow.
Moses feeling every bullet that goes through the bodies of any of these players.
It's the
Prodigy
electrodes.
already been tagged up a little bit. As G2, what do they have to offer on their attacking half? That's going to be the question now. How are their executes? Their post plants are phenomenal. And they've been able to pretty successfully get onto A here, but luckerrr will at least take down pyth, but he's only down to 22 HP, so he tries to escape. We'll use a cloudburst just to try and survive for now. The plant does go down. And luckerrr has done enough to get away and at least be a nuisance here to G2 because they know he's there, so they can't afford to turn away from it. So instead, they push it. Pat gets aggressive and takes down luckerrr. Now just the 3 remaining players of Prodigy have to try and burst onto the site pretty much all the same time if they want a real chance. They look for one. It is going to be ardiis who's close on the left, and now pAura and Turko. They work so well, the 2 Turkish players. Can they find anything in hell? There's going to be the little tap here. And
the incendiary.
Slow, and there's an insyn, and this is going to be difficult for them to push onto the site. And there's the damage. Rhyme again, picking up some big frags, and what an incredible retake that was from Prodigy. Just perfectly initiated, like the slows, the insane coming out, made it so difficult for G2.
I mean, you got to question the plant spot decision there. No?
I question nothing.
I mean,
These are
considering the
professional
fact that, yes, the majority of them were on the short/long side, it made it pretty difficult for them.
I mean, yeah, Mixwell, again, they've done absolutely fantastically to clear that. And Mixwell dying in hell is obviously the downfall of that. But
well, I mean, it's all lucker, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's pAura checking that corner as he swings out from connector there. But I don't know. They've got ghosts. It should just default back to a long plant, I feel. But
well, if Lucker hadn't have got the kill on short, and if he hadn't have backed off and stayed alive, then of course they would have just planted normally. But because Lucker was that threat, they had to plant a little bit passively. Otherwise, Lucker could have peeked out and denied it. So that's what I meant by Lucker just surviving and getting away as the jet was huge in the round. But we're already into the next, and there's already been frags left, right, and center. Prodigy down to 4, G2 down to 4, but also tagged down ever so slightly is Mixwell. It looks like they're heading towards the B site here. A couple of slows are available for Davidp, so if they want to get onto the site and do get the frag, he can then hit A-Link and C-Link if he wants to, but pAura peaks at the right time and could make it 2 here. Yes, he does. There is a third player there. Does he? No. In comes Davidp, trying to catch him off guard, and Davidp does so well. It doesn't matter what weapon's in his hand, and oh my goodness, David. No right of winning that 1v1. And he is going to be able to heal up here. He does have Spike in hand. This is still winnable.
The attack stage caught him totally off guard.
Spike planted. And will reposition himself into short. Does he go for the massive flank round? No, he's not going to have time, I don't think. Does have the res, but unfortunately no one to res in this proximity. As the remaining 2 players from Prodigy are just scouting out every corner. It's going to be Rhyme there on a stage on himself. The instant comes out. He gets one, does Davidp, and there is the tap on the Spike. He does have a slow orb, and he's just going to go for a ring around the rosies, but Turko just peeking at the right time.
That's
and
so
he is going to have so much time here.
Turko didn't give away any clues with the audio there, and I mean, David did have an opportunity to play on the back of Sightbox, but unfortunately, they're really great stuff from David, though. Absolutely punishing pAura for backing up inside B. And again, Prodigy put themselves out ahead. Again, they won the first 2 rounds in the first half. Well, actually, no, sorry, they lost the first 2. I'm looking at the wrong colors again. Ignore me.
Who's calling for Prodigy?
I mean, that's the real question. I mean, there's so many players who could be calling, and that's the worry for me. I don't think it would be pAura or Turko. Maybe Lucker?
I think the chat will tell us. It's all good.
I'm sure some people have better information than I do, as Rhyme unfortunately can't take down ardiis. And ardiis with the Phantom in hand is going to be able to push on and dominate this C site. Rez comes through onto Mixwell. It always seems like Mixwell is the one picked up, and I think that's because Mixwell so quick to burst onto his site. He does throw his life on the line for this team, which is good to see. That's kind of what separates a top player from one of the best players, is knowing when it's right to put your body on the line. Prodigy down to just 2, and I would imagine they are not going to go for this one. Instead, save what they can, cut their losses. And it will go to 8-7. So yes, okay, they got the first 2, but then G2, as soon as they had real weapons in their hands, they have put one on the board.
And a nice push through from the boys on G2. This is I feel like the rest of the rounds are going to go this way, Dan. Just back and forth in. It's so evenly matched. This is a lot closer already than I thought it was going to be, especially with the way G2 have been playing, and also taking into account the way Prodigy have been playing, to be honest with you. They've really been... Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's going to come down to these next couple of rounds when we actually witness both teams having full buy with G2 attacking. It's going to be a weak buy for Prodigy here, so you imagine this should go to 8-8. But then when the full buy is available for both sides, if G2 can start winning consistent rounds and resetting Prodigy's economy, then maybe G2 can start to run away with it. But if Prodigy can just like sneak back an eco round here or there, then it suddenly becomes very difficult for G2. And it could be that back and forth that you speak of. ardiis will get the tag with the firebolt from his owl drone. But no ultimate to follow up. Hunter's Fury not going to be there for sometimes guaranteed kill after that tag. Mixwell goes for the spray down. Doesn't work out on this occasion. And well, G2 being a little bit patient. And well, pat has walked straight into pAura. pAura was the only one really a threat on this Prodigy side is because he has that rifle. G2 have to be very careful. They don't want to throw this round away considering the money that was available for Prodigy at the start.
Looks like we're going to see a rotation from G2 coming over towards Abe. And you can already see two members of Prodigy have stacked up over there. luckerrr already in there. There's going to be a tag from the spy cam. luckerrr's actually going to find a headshot onto Mixwell's going to find a second headshot and a third on the pyth. That's fantastic work on the eco round from Prodigy. And they absolutely lock down A site. Wow.
So I had one guy in the Twitch chat say that luckerr's calling. So if you want to bet on the one dude in Twitch chat being right about that, that's the case. If that is the case,
I don't
luckerrr
think
calling.
Twitch chat has ever been wrong about anything, to be fair.
That's true. And,
so
yes.
I mean, judging by the fact that like luckerrr and Rhyme are the two players who are on the signed team and they are like the two that play together most, you would imagine it would be one of them, and my natural assumption was luckerrr because he ops as well. So he kind of gets the lay of the land and he can see things from a distance and I say when to push. But for Prodigy, I mean, 9-7 and that round, and they had no right to win.
No, they didn't.
I mean, it all just kind of exploded in front of us, and I think even G2 were probably taken aback at that point. pAura again gets the opening.
Oh my god.
Well, at least is there as damage control. pAura has been a bit. Oh my, yes.
Yes, yes. More.
Forget the game. Give me more of that action.
Give me some camera tours in chat.
Mixwell will get the spike down, and it's a 3 versus 3. luckerrr does have his ult as well if he would want to use it, and plenty of cloud bursts, as well as a dash, so he could be a real nuisance here to G2. Rhyme coming from behind.
Mixwell's not going to be expecting this.
We'll catch one, we'll catch two. Rhyme with the spray down.
Dude.
Time and time again. He gets the res just for good measure. ardiis has been able to take down Turko, but he's going to be completely weak.
Go on, then. That was the sickest headshot transfer I've ever seen.
This is absolutely phenomenal from Rhyme. And this is him coming off the back of, I hate to keep saying it, but a dreadful performance on Bind previously. Other than that overtime round, this man has got his second wind coming into the first game of the grand finals.
Just one moment. That's all it takes, is to take you from the dumps to the top of the world, and Rhyme is just riding the momentum.
It's our turn.
Well, I don't think anyone would have seen this coming, but Prodigy are going to make something of this final. And I know we memed about going all the way to a best of 5, and when we saw that G2 had the lead, we were maybe thinking it might have been a little bit quicker, but Prodigy, they've had something to say about this. Turko gets the opener onto ardiis, luckerrr onto pyth as well.
They
were just all falling like flies. I know it's an eco round, but it has just been so comfortable for them. Prodigy make it 11, and now this is going to be the final stance for G2. They're going to get another bye, and they have to consistently win rounds here if they're going to take this map.
I'm
3-1. I called it.
I'm a little bit worried here. Should I be?
I don't know. I mean, it's not like anyone on G2 is playing horribly. Realistically, if you look at the other side, it really shouldn't be. It's
I
really
feel like
Rhyme. Rhyme is just kind of carrying him.
The scoreline is actually kind of crazy looking at the stats on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it should be 11-7.
I mean, we do have to remind ourselves, G2 did drop this map earlier on in the tournament to Party Pirates as well. So you could argue it is one of their weaker maps, and maybe Prodigy have chosen that to try and target them, despite the fact they already lost to them once in this tournament. But there's just been some really clutch moments for the Prodigy squad at the moment, and Hip gets the opening again onto pyth. pyth hasn't had the easiest of games here on Haven. Despite a couple of big rounds and that 1-4K with the judge. He has been kind of taken out round after round, and now Prodigy with the player advantage can sit and wait and say, all right, G2, well, what have you got to offer? Default B execute is going to come through, but the bomb is a little bit far away. Here comes the spike trickling down middle now. So the plant at least can happen, albeit a little bit late. Although I say that, the plant denied by the orbital strike, and here comes luckerrr and Turko to ruin the day of G2. And it's going to be looking like a 12-7 unless Davidp can step up as he gets the opener onto Hip. He's going to push out to mid, but he can't get past Rhyme, who again just gets the nice spray down with the Phantom. And it's all down to Mixwell with the yacht, but he's stuck between a rock and a hard Turko. That sounds a lot worse than I thought it did in my head, but it's 12-7.
Match point, baby. I did not expect it to be like this.
No.
It doesn't feel right. And not in the way that Prodigy should be losing, but it just doesn't feel like G2 is as cohesive or as able to be as aggressive as they were in the past.
I mean, I'd like to see the first blood counter for this after the stats go up. Maybe I'll take a look at the spike and see if it will update maybe halfway through the next map. But it'll be interesting to see if G2 have just been locked out in terms of man advantage in this map. Because I feel like the way is they're not as aggressive. They're definitely not winning as many individual 1v1s and you know, entries onto a site. And I've got to think that's a factor. I mean, luckerrr's been playing insane, but Rhyme has been finding entries. And we haven't said that at all this weekend.
Look at this psychopath. Jet's facial expression just doesn't. It's just like, I'm gonna stab you.
Slightly concerning.
Wow.
It's like,
yeah,
it's like they can hear us.
Yeah,
Funny thing is, Mixwell actually played. He pressed nothing there. That was purely just Jet's inner demons coming out at us. And shout out to the graphics of this game. I've got to say, like, I've never actually noticed like how much the eyes move and.
Yeah, Brimstone actually
how
has
lifeless they are.
Brimstone actually has the longest head I've ever seen. It's like the head of a horse.
I mean, I was going to say if Moses grew a bigger beard, it might look a little bit like Brimstone, but now I feel like I shouldn't because you've just said he's got a long head like a horse. I would never insult Moses that way, but we get back underway, 12-7 to Prodigy, and they're so close, within touching distance of taking the first map of this final, but of course it would be 1-1 thanks to G2's advantage. Finally, G2 get the first blood, but Rhyme is there to take down Mixwell yet again, which means G2 are just back on level pegging. Not able to have a man advantage. Orbital Strike is going to come out onto C site, but Turko, Hip, and luckerrr deny any sort of push from G2, and it's all down to Pat now. He's going to have to go absolutely huge if G2 are going to have any chance of even coming back in this game, but in a 1 versus 4, it's not going to happen.
Wow.
Prodigy take the game 13-7.